Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to introduce yourself. And just for a little bit of about me, my introduction, my name is Michelle Saya. I also do astrology, and I do a lot of healing around our empathic wounds and releasing those codependencies and those attachments that might come from having such a sensitive and powerful gift. So, as healers and as practitioners, it's even more important, and it's our job to make sure that we do the internal work in releasing those wounds, in releasing those energetic, load and heaviness and energy leaks. So, for today's session, it's jam packed. There's so much information I would love to share with you guys. So, we're going to get right into it. And hopefully, at the end of this session, we can finish off with a beautiful empathic energy clearing meditation. So I'm going to share my screen. We can begin. And if at any point, if anyone has any questions, feel free to stop me and ask me. You're more than welcome to stop me in the middle of the presentation. And if you have pen and paper, even perfect, because we will be doing a little exercise. Okay, share my screen. Beautiful. So can everyone see my screen? Awesome. So for today's workshop, I'm going to be talking about how to energetically prosper as an empathic healer. So some of the things that we're going to be going over are different energy signatures, since we are empathic, and what are the ways in which we can really create balance in our lives, both in our personal lives and in our healing business. So we'll be looking at the differences between what causes the overwhelm and what leads us to feel imbalance, and why this is important that we do the healing work ourselves so we can best serve others and attract the right clients. And we'll also be looking at some of our masculine and feminine wounds. We all have some to some extent, and we're going to take a deep dive and understand how we can integrate these two aspects so it can be impactful in healing other people while we're being energetically balanced. And more than ever, we will be healing our money beliefs. We'll be looking at our money beliefs and looking at how our relationship attachments can also correlate to how that shows up to our money, and also more so to our healing practice, because it is a business. And so money is currency. And that's something that we're going to be looking at today. And lastly, we're going to be looking at how do we do boundary setting once we look at all the feminine, the masculine wounds, and also healing the money beliefs. So as a healer or heart-centered practitioner, your business and practice will feel a lot like survival when we have unresolved wounds and energy leaks that hinders our ability to be in our highest expression of our calling. So since we're empathic, we operate on tuning into our own energy as well as the energy of others. So today we'll work through healing our energy in these areas, which is the masculine, the feminine, our relationship attachments, and our money. And so as an empathic healer, here are some energy leaks that we need to watch out for. Energy leaks are things and aspects that can drain us of our life force, and that really hinders our ability to be fully present with our clients and in our business and our healing practice. So some of the things that can show up as energy leaks, it's stimulants, coffee and sugar. There might be lack of consistency in routine. Empaths thrive on having a predictable routine, so they can really thrive and be in their domain. If there's feelings of scarcity, it can activate the stress and trauma response in our brain. And so one of the common ways in which we feel scarcity is our money beliefs, which we'll get into. There might be unwanted influencing energy with the people in our lives. So we might receive unsolicited opinions from other people. That can also be an energy leak, an energy drain. Or there might also be people in our life that we may subconsciously seek approval from. And this is where our people-pleasing tendencies may come out. We may also be bombarded by ads, news, social media. Those are all really huge energy leaks. And from a health standpoint, nutritional standpoint, magnesium and iron deficiency can cause anxiety and can cause our nervous system to actually be even more sensitive than it already is, since we're already empaths. And not having alone time to recharge and distinguish our own energy and our own emotions, that of others, can also be an energy leak, can be a hindrance. Our unresolved inner critic is an energy leak. It can be an energetic wound. And healing others as a means of distraction rather than a means of purpose. How are we showing up to our client session today? Is this a distraction? Am I forcing myself into this session? Or am I here fully present with the client, ready to facilitate healing? And here are some boundaries that you can invite in for more energetic balance, so the duality of it. So reducing the coffee, the sugar, not necessarily omitting it if you love coffee. I do love coffee, but I have a cap off. So by 11:30 a.m., I'm done. I only drink half a cup of coffee. So I have that like morning routine in, but I do not abuse it. I also have a consistent routine, and with my clients, having a established consistent routine on a foundational level allows you to have that predictable rest and feel in control, which can be very empowering for empathic healers and practitioners. Understanding our relationship with money, creating money dates, whether that's once a week, every other week, or even once a month. You make yourself a turmeric latte, look at your finances, put on your favorite music, and like really reframe looking at money in a different way where it can actually be fun. Being selective in your support system, your squad, being able to connect with others who share the same level of integrity as you and can help you through some of your days where you are feeling more energetically drained. Reducing exposure or working through dynamics with people that may question your confidence or the relationships in your life where you feel that ambivalence. It's time to kind of look at that and see what are ways that I can reduce that exposure and minimize it so I can set those loving boundaries for myself. Curating how we gather our news content, curating our social media feeds. My social media feeds are filled with puppies and cats. It keeps me going and balanced, and it helps me stay focused in my own work when I don't have to look at all of the news that's going on. I subscribe to one email newsletter. It gives me the rundown of the facts of everything that's going on in current world events without the emotional things attached to it, because I'm already very emotionally sensitive. Having the right supplements. Magnesium, iron supplements support the healthy function of your nervous system. So whenever you are on a client meeting, there might be triggers that come out. Sometimes when we coach or we heal a client, triggers might come up for the client, but a lot of the times we don't talk about how triggers might actually come up for the practitioner as well. And so we want to be able to really build out and support, nourish our nervous system to really allow for that to happen, to widen our capacity and our resilience to hold space for our clients. Scheduling solo dates with yourself, blocking it off on your calendar. Creating awareness, working through old stories, beliefs that no longer serve you, and avoid playing the martyr archetype. So releasing that attachment to overgiving to the point of burnout, and learning how to create mutual agreements and expectations with our clients. So as empathic healers, attracting other empaths, we energetically give others permission to live in their highest expression of worthiness when we ourselves operate from a state of worthiness as well. So we're going to be talking now a bit about feminine and masculine wounds and how that can create self-sabotage, especially since we are empaths and we're so in tune to other people. And how can that show up in our feminine and masculine energy, especially when it's not from an empowering place? And so the key is to be compassionate when looking at them and finding ways to create a balanced middle ground where we are choosing from worthiness versus a feeling of scarcity and lack. So the masculine wound, as an example, a quote might be, "I have to hustle and work extremely hard to reach success." The feminine wound, the duality of it might be, "I would rather dream of beautiful ideas than execute it or see it to completion." Both of these, what they have in common is that they both operate from a place of lack, and they will both lead to feelings of imposter syndrome. And so when we can find a way to kind of take a step back, look at both aspects, and see how we can integrate the empowering aspects of the feminine and the masculine in balance, a statement instead that's more healthy can be, "I'm excited to follow through on my goals because I'm honoring the flow of my nervous system to feel grounded with a built-in structure to support me." Another example of a masculine wound: "I must make as much profit as possible at every opportunity. I sell hard because revenue is my number one priority." And then the contrast to that, the feminine wound: "I keep delivering free content and feel uncomfortable charging what I know it's worth, even though I'm creating work that is meaningful and powerful." So whatever the ways in which we can heal that and find the middle ground. "I price my offers appropriately, rooted in the highest expression of my self-worth and in integrity with who I'm serving. Selling is serving." So the masculine energy is here to provide a stable, grounding energy for us to feel supported in our own business. The masculine is both the container in which we build to hold space for healing to happen, as well as the catalyst to see our projects, our visions, our goals come to life through the completion of the work. And then the feminine, the essence of the feminine, is here to provide inspiration, emotional intimacy, and soul into the container for transformational healing to take place. Feminine energy creates trust, nourishment, and safety, which is crucial to the longevity and joy your healing business can provide for both you and for the client. And so now we can't talk about worthiness without getting into our money beliefs, which also shows up in the form of energy that can help you fully show up in your work. We all have conditioning around money and what it means, but is that conditioning helping or hurting us? So we're going to examine what we're making money mean and how it might be preventing us from achieving the goals that we desire. So it's money reflection time. If you have a paper and pencil, now is the perfect time to take it out. So whatever calls to you, don't overthink it, just kind of tune in. Money is, and I'll give you a moment to fill it out. People who have a lot of money are people who don't have a lot of money are I would make more money if my mom thought money was My dad thought money was. If I had more money, I would. When I think of spiritual people and money, I think of for my highest paid offer, I would price it at. I don't feel like I can charge more than X amount for my highest level offer. I don't feel like I can charge less than X amount for my highest level offer. And as you take the time to review your answers and finish up, you can also write what is coming up for you. And if we have time at the end, we can go around and share some of our insights. Okay. And then so I'll have you guys wrap up and then we'll move on to the next slide. So typically, our relationship with money closely mirrors and reflects our relationship with actually the people in our lives and our relationship dynamics. So this will also project onto our business and the prospects and clients that we end up attracting. So we're going to look at which money attachment style are you? And this is pretty much which relationship attachment style are you and how do they kind of correlate with one another? How do they mirror one another? So what parallels do you see with your relationship with people and your relationship with money? So for example, perhaps you don't make enough quality time for your relationships and you also don't make quality time for your money, or you may avoid tough conversations with people in your life and avoiding tough conversations around money, as an example. So, secure attachment with money. Let's look at secure attachment style relationships first. Someone with a secure attachment style in relationships, they're comfortable with being themselves and being with other people. They are able to be in a healthy, intimate relationship and also enjoy their autonomy and time alone. And if you've never taken the relationship attachment style test, I'll make sure to send the test, send it out to you guys so you guys can take it and see what relationship attachment style you guys are so it can be more helpful. So how does that translate to our money? So people with secure attachment, when it comes to money, we know that money is simple energy. It comes and goes, and you can create more whenever you choose. You feel calm and confident dealing with money and situations that involve money. You openly talk about money in a loving and grounded way, looking at finances on the regular, neutral about the ups and downs in your bank account. You allow yourself to be supported with money matters, and you stay calm even when the financial storms hit. So what is something that we can do as a self-care practice with someone with secure attachment with money? The strategy is to keep it up, keep doing what you're doing. The practice is to take note of what's working well and continuing to do those things, and also asking how you can improve your relationship with money moving forward and taking action steps to moving and growing with your money. And the mantra affirmation would be, I love and trust money and feel so grateful for a deep connection and understanding. So, anxious attachment with money. Someone who has an anxious attachment style in relationships often worries about the state of their relationship and needs constant reassurance to know where they stand. They may unhealthily and codependently cling to their partner and seek their worth in their partner's opinions and validations. So what would that look like when it comes to money? You may obsess over decisions with money, playing them over in your mind, feeling worse about it, fearful of whether the money might come in, will be gone, fear of losing the money that you just got. You wonder what is wrong with you that makes money not stick around. How come once money comes to me, it leaves just as fast as it comes? We might feel the urge or tendency that we need to hoard money and just save a ton of money because we're afraid that it's going to disappear. We expect money to be the solution to all of our problems. And we may even fantasize about money, but will not look at the present situation, will not look at our bank account and see the reality and create a plan to get there. Or we might feel envy when we see other people having such an easy time with money. And so the self-care practice with this type of anxious attachment style, the strategy is to give yourself love and compassion. The practice is setting up money dates and noticing how you're improving and making strides with your relationship to money, even if they're baby steps. Each step counts and is moving you closer to what you desire. And the mantra affirmation is, I am safe with money. I am calm with money. And then there's avoidant attachment with money. So people with avoidant attachment style in relationships, they tend to avoid relationships or try to keep them at a distance. If they begin to have good experiences within a relationship, they might be more than likely to sabotage their relationship out of a deep-seated fear that the other person will leave them or hurt them. So they beat their partner to it as to not get hurt and avoid the emotional upheaval. How does that look like when it comes to money? So completely avoiding money or dealing with it altogether. And this is two parts. One's dismissive avoidance, and we'll get to fearful avoidant. Might emotionally detach from money completely. Might say money isn't important to me. I don't need money to be happy and live a life I love. Completely avoiding looking at the bank account, credit card statements. Priding the self on doing it all on your own, not needing anyone else to support you with money. Resisting commitments that require a big investment. And this might actually mirror and show up in calls and prospects. When you have your healing business, you might attract other people that also are afraid to put down the commitment because they're also afraid of the investment. We might ignore and delete emails about finances, whether it's a bank account notice or someone following up on a missed payment. So out of sight, out of mind. So self-care practice for this, get support with managing with your money and open up the dialogue around money. We can do this by speaking to an accountant that we trust, asking a trusted friend and family member to enter an open and compassionate discussion around money where we feel safe to be vulnerable. And then the mantra affirmation is, having money conversations opens up new perspectives and opportunities. Fearful attachment is a bit different from dismissive. Dismissive is more out of sight, out of mind. Fearful is avoiding it out of this deep-seated fear. So yo-yoing between the line of being afraid of being too close and too distant from your money, feeling very little power to do anything with your money fears, So trying to avoid money altogether through escapism, whether that's daydreaming, working late hours, basically doing anything to get away from your current financial reality, making yourself feel bad, guilty for even wanting, desiring money, but at the same time, you're feeling desperate energy of wanting more and feeling like you're not able to have it. You might even cut yourself off from money by sabotaging your relationship with money before it has a chance to reinvent itself. And so you might be scared that money will hurt you, so you hurt money first. So a common thing that might happen is when money comes in, we might just spend it on something frivolous. And it happens just like that. It's like impulse spending. So that self-care practice would be to develop strategies and practices to define your worth beyond your income. Because fearful avoidance, they're so fearful, it would be great to start off with a practice that's not directly correlated with money and working our way up to having money dates. So the practice can be writing down 3 ways you can tap into your worth on the regular that may not be related directly with money. And the mantra is, I am, therefore, I am worthy. So with all of this, ultimately, the way we feel about money and our worthiness can directly tie into how much we're comfortable with selling as a practitioner, as a healer, self-promotion, charging appropriately, and dealing with client objections who match the same money wounds that we do. It's crazy how oftentimes, as I was healing my money wounds, and just so you know, I started out with anxious attachment. And I've been working through that in both my relationships and also my relationship with money. And it's interesting to see in my own journey, getting on calls with prospects and clients, how that shifts. Because when I first started, I also attracted other prospects that were so terrified of parting with their money. And so the commitment to self and healing internally our money wounds truly also gives other people permission to heal themselves as well. And so an example of a money energy rule. Money wants to be used. There's a difference between hoarding money and saving money. And so what that might look like manifested in our business, you're on sales calls with prospects that are unwilling to part with their money, even though they need your help. And then an attachment energy belief with our relationship attachments. If you have an anxious attachment, for example, I need to go to the ends of the earth to make sure my client is taken care of because my worth depends on it. Whether you're aware of it or not, whether it's a subconscious belief, but if that's the dialogue, what's manifested is you may attract clients that are resistant to trusting the container that they're in. So it fully stunts the full healing experience that you can provide and for that client to feel safe to be in. So we have this big thing, this big conversation topic in the healing community and even the coaching world. How do we set boundaries with our business? And there's all of these strategies out there. And for me, I truly believe that it really starts down to the root of our beliefs and healing our wounds. And so by healing our money beliefs, working at this, looking at it honestly and with integrity, and understanding our attachment style and energetic wounds first, the intuitive boundaries is just that. It's intuitive. It'll naturally come up. We'll know what kind of boundaries we need to set once we start healing these beliefs. Boundary setting won't feel like we're faking it. It won't feel like we're forcing it. It won't feel unnatural or launch us into imposter syndrome when we understand how our relationship and our money attachment wounds show up and manifest in our healing business. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to finish off this session with an energy clearing meditation to further help support your journey of healing. So I'm going to stop my screen share. Okay. So now we're going to be doing an empath energy clearing meditation. So if everyone can get into a comfortable position, I'm going to give you guys a moment to get comfy. So with your feet firmly planted on the floor, Feel your shoulders soften into your body, and when you're ready, you can close your eyes. Now take a deep cleansing breath in, nice and slowly, and a deep exhale out. And then another deep cleansing breath in, and a deep exhale out. And as you're softening and feeling the natural rhythm and pacing of your breath that feels comfortable, observe how you're feeling this present moment. What memories, conversations, emotional weight are you holding onto? Now softly place your palms to your heart. Let your hands hold your heart for a minute and witness this powerful container that is your heart. This is a source that gives so much love. This is the place where you receive all of this unconditional love. Let's also take a moment and witness and honor the power of how strong your heart is, how it can carry sadness, anger, grief, the emotions that we hold for others, the emotions that we hold for ourselves. Energetically tune into how your heart is feeling and what your heart is carrying. Are you feeling heavy? Are you feeling soft today? Take notice of the sensations you feel in your body as you tune into what your heart is trying to tell you. Now, I want you to imagine with each breath you inhale, the oxygen you receive is this bright, cleansing, soothing, warm, and golden light. And as you inhale slowly, you carry this cleansing light of oxygen into your heart, and it ripples into your entire body, clearing any residual heaviness you might be feeling. And when you exhale, release the emotions, the weight that was never yours to carry. And again, take a deep cleansing inhale, letting healing, warm, golden light in. And a deep exhale, clearing away the dark clouds, the heavy energy that you are clearing. This energy that makes you feel tired, that makes you doubt yourself, it is no longer yours to carry. You have permission. You are safe to release with each exhale what is not yours to feel and what is not yours to hold on to. And every cell, every molecule, every atom are now illuminated with this purifying light each time you take in an inhale, as the light cleanses any energy that does not belong to you. And as you get familiar with this warm light, each time you breathe in this loving, healing, warm light, know that this is yours to tap into at any moment's notice. That you are a powerful being that can breathe in what heals you and release what is not yours to feel. This light you inhale will serve to energetically protect you, love you, and ground you back into safety, back into yourself, the peace of what you're capable of feeling, always with you. This is the energy you know to be true. And when you're ready, slowly ground yourself back to center, and you are now back in balance, energetically in your own space. And you can slowly open your eyes whenever you feel ready. How is everyone feeling? And hopefully there's enough time where I can answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you, Michelle. That was full of insight and nuggets. So I was like, yes, like jotting down notes in my mind and trying to absorb all of that. It's like when there's so many insights, you like absorb one and then you need a minute to absorb the next one as the next one's coming. That's like what I was
Yeah.
feeling through it. So it was great. I do have a question, and I hope other people can relate to this or have other questions. But when you talked about intuitive boundaries, I love how you said like the deeper, not verbatim, I don't remember, but the deeper you go inwards and the more you practice showing up for yourself, you'll know what those intuitive boundaries are. And I truly believe that because they ebb and flow and they change, and intuitively we start to understand what boundaries we need. But can you maybe share some examples of like intuitive boundaries you've found yourself creating that help you as an empath?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for reiterating that. So some of the intuitive boundaries that I set is I really do create like solo self-care dates with myself. So I'll actually block off my calendar. Like I'll have maybe 2 days of the week where I take no meetings. I allow myself to get into flow. And I used to have a masculine wound where I thought, I had to wake up really early and take meetings from the moment like I get started, coffee ready in hand. So like 8 o'clock, I'm already taking meetings. And I realized that I wasn't really honoring myself and my own energy. And that for me would lead to burnout. So an intuitive boundary that I would set for myself is I would block off 8 to 11 a.m. on Sundays, just so I allow myself to have a slow morning to really ease into it. So whenever I'm on a call with a coaching client and I'm holding space for people, I can really be fully present for them. And I really truly believe in setting intuitive boundaries. We hear so many people out there, especially even in the self-improvement realm, it's like you have to set this boundary and that boundary and this boundary. But whenever we are in a place where we're letting someone else tell us what to do, it can actually really reopen up that anxiousness and seeking the validations of other people on how we should do things. And I think as healers, as practitioners, we do have the gift to tune into our own intuition and wisdom and how we want to create our own business. And no two business looks alike, and nor should your business. It's beautiful as is, and so it should be treated as such and be held in a sacred space. So that's why I think intuitive boundary setting is just so crucial, so vital and important.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that you give yourself permission for that. Because I think hearing like a fellow empath and entrepreneur giving themselves permission for that space is like, oh, I can give myself permission for that. Michelle's giving herself permission for that, right? So it's that like empath inspiration of sharing that truth. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for asking that question. It's a beautiful question.
I have to say, I was really not caught off guard, but part of the questions where you were asking about, what was your mother's relationship and what was your father's relationship to money? I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Didn't realize I was carrying all that garbage along with me. So I found that really powerful. Thank you for that. Do you want to extrapolate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure thing. As children, we're so impressionable and we're also so resilient. And there's a lot of compassion when we look at our parents as well, because they are carrying wounds. Everyone's carrying wounds, and it projects and manifests in different ways. So when our parents have the relationship that they have with their money, they do their best. And at the same time, we really have to look at that, because if we kind of just see growing up that this is a default and think that that's normal, we really limit ourselves in our full capacity to heal and expand our possibilities of what really money can do. Money is truly energetic currency. And it's so powerful because we could also inherit the energetic currency of our parents. And money is one example of that.
Thank you for that. I totally agree. Does anyone else want to talk about their experience or have any questions for Michelle? You guys are so quiet.
I know. Also, if you have a question and you came in a little late because it was not your fault and it was my fault because I messed up the times on Eventbrite, please introduce yourself because we did a little introduction in the
Yeah,
beginning. So
please.
if you have a question, just say your name, where you're calling in from, maybe how you're in service is what we shared in the beginning so that you can at least say hi to the group.
I'm not sure if that's just me, but my name is. Yeah. I'm calling in from New York. I just started a brand spanking new or semi-new like blog, and how I will eventually have service for others is to do coaching on an intuitive level. So I think this is a really interesting conversation because a lot of it plays with the money mindset also, and just the idea behind abundance. One of the things I saw on the last slide, which I did have a little bit of a question, I'm just not sure how to phrase it. It said something about like hoarding and then saving. So I was wondering, oh, my phone. I was wondering, how does giving play into that in terms of like the flow of abundance, not only just, those two being the definition of like hoarding and then saving. I've done both, but I also give sometimes too. Yeah. I think contributes to that flow. So how does that sort of like play in?
Sure, I love that question. So when we give, we are in embodiment of detachment. And oftentimes when we detach from an outcome and we release expectation, love truly flows in. And in some ways, one can define it as love, and love is abundant. Unconditional love is abundant, and love is energy, and money is also the currency of energy. And so when we see all of this mirroring take place on hoarding, saving, giving, and taking, it really truly reflects that back into our life and our business. And another interesting thing to add to giving money is some of the clients that I work with, oftentimes they have this belief come up where they struggle spending money on themselves, but it's so easy to give that money to the people that they love. And so that's an invitation to look at a wound where it's like, are we putting other people's priorities above our own? So we have to kind of look at our worthiness here. And so that can also reflect in the giving aspect. Are we giving from a place of worthiness? Or are we giving from a place of, I don't deserve it, but these people that I love so dearly deserve it. So I'm just going to keep giving and giving and giving.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Catherine Peters. I am a professional transformation coach, and I primarily work with women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who are worn out, totally over it, have lost their mojo. I help them rediscover that passion and purpose. I focus a lot on self-care. And as Ashley knows, one of my passions is the nap, and I actually lead a nap workshop called The Untapped Power of the Nap.
Beautiful.
Michelle, I love what you said about two things I think I'll add is, oh gosh, this reminds me, you know how you're supposed to like, the old adage is that you date your dad, you know, and then when you figure that out, it's like, oh, I figured out I was dating my mother, and that sent me into therapy. I've since healed that. And so I always knew that I absorbed a lot of my mom's very dysfunctional money stuff. I came from a divorced household, but what just clicked for me when you were speaking is, oh, what did I pick up from my dad? because I know I have money messages from him as well, big time, being very tight-fisted. So yeah, that's really interesting that we get those messages from both parents. And also I work with energetics in my coaching, and a level 4 is a very giving. But what happens is when people give too much, the corollary is a level 1, which is the lowest level of energy possible. It's kind of like victim or grief or powerlessness.
Yeah.
And so what happens is people who are constantly giving level 4 without replenishing themselves, they go into that lower energy. And it just clicked for me as well when you're talking about this. Oh my gosh, people do that with money too. Like they give it away and then they're powerless about money, kind of as a result. There's that weird dynamic. So thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And thank you so much for sharing that insight. It's crazy how powerful money can be, the representation, and just it really serves as a tangible, energetic way of how we're showing up in our lives. If our relationships are intangible, then we can look at our money, because money is just such a direct energy that you just cannot ignore. It's just like right in front of your face. And so it really can create that feeling of scarcity if there is a feeling of lack already in place, or a feeling of abundance. So thank you so much for sharing that, Catherine. It's very powerful.
So I'll just comment here. First of all, Catherine, I love the nap workshops. That sounds right up my alley. But Michelle, thank you. This was really great. And I have to tell you, like, I've never thought about money in this way. I've never done anything like this. And I've written like 2 or 3 pages of notes just, in the last 20 minutes, and I keep adding as we're talking. So I think one of the biggest takeaways to me, similarly to how everybody's talking about the thing with my parents, like I never thought about it, like brought up memories from 35 years ago when I was a very small little kid, and just like real situations that happened that I haven't thought of in a very long time. And it's like, oh, that's why I do that, or that's why I do that. So just wanted to thank you for that, and really, really good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michelle, I want to thank you as well. This is such a great session. And I also want to second everyone else here. This one really hit home. And it's interesting. I'm at home with my family now. And I was actually journaling this past week kind of about this. And I realized I've just been noticing there's like some dynamics with my family and money. And I've had a lot of trauma around money before. And so it's just interesting hearing it and you just driving it home. So it's just something to think about and be aware of. And I think that's, it's nice that we're all having the awareness about it now and kind of pinpoint and break the issues and the wounds down to heal them. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. And if I can add anything after just hearing so many of you talk about, money, if you haven't already, I would really encourage you, and it's helped heal my money wounds so much. I would write a letter to money as if it was a person that I was in a relationship with, as if I would write a letter to an ex that I wasn't over. I would do that with money. You'd be so surprised at what comes up when we see it as a person.
Jamie, I wanted to make sure you had a chance to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
By the way, I love that letter idea, Michelle. So thank you. I'm definitely going to do that. I think like Jess, the timing for this is great because I was just journaling about some lack items related to money in my family earlier this week. So this was just like a reinforcement. So thank you. So I'm Jamie, I'm based in Tampa and like Jessica, I recently launched a mind body blog. And so right now it's more sharing my healing journey and things that have helped me heal. And I think over time it'll morph into coaching and providing other resources for people who are struggling with chronic stress induced conditions. So it's great to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. I think we have one more, maybe Skyla.
Hi, I'm Skyla. I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I'm still very much a child. I'm only 18 and I still live with my parents. And I think that for sure that my money relationship and a lot of my problems with money also come from my parents. I think about that. And I I think that I never really noticed until I got into a relationship, and then I would tell my partner about my money, and he would always tell me like, you don't have to justify every single purchase to me. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't. I guess I can just buy something because I want it, or I can buy something because I need it for my art that I'm creating. So I think that I've definitely struggled with that, but I've just started my healing journey, so I'm still a little new.
Awesome. And Skyla, do you want to tell us about your business, what you're in service for?
Oh yeah, so I don't have a business kind of like you guys. Lene thought that this would be a good idea for me to join. I have an Etsy shop and I sell my art, kind of like a side hustle that I started when I went to college. So it's been nice, but I definitely have had to set a lot of boundaries, especially with people who are close to me, or maybe even like friends from high school who are always, I feel like I have to give them the absolute most or the absolute cheapest thing that I can, when really it's okay to, make a profit off of things if I want to. So.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I think that's everybody. I want to be mindful of time. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. Is there any closing remarks? Anything else we need to say, Ash? Other than thank you, Michelle, you're a badass and my mind is blown.
Such a badass, and like all of us have our own money shit. No one is alone. All of us were like, oh my God, my dad, oh my God, my mom, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like mind blown. So it's not just you, just as empaths, it's nice to remember we're not alone. My only plug is next Tuesday night, we're going to have our monthly group. If you haven't joined a group, please join us. Michelle and I actually got trained to facilitate group together. That is how we met. It's such a wonderful, wonderful thing to come together and just share our truth. So if that's something you're interested in, we only have 8 spots and I think half are booked. So please sign up if you'd like to join us. Other than that, just thank you for being here and thank you for showing up. And I apologize again for the time mix up. I'm going to send the recording to everybody in the recap. So if you came in a little bit late, you can catch the beginning of Michelle's incredible presentation. That's all I got.
Yes, thank you all so much. Wishing you all a wonderful rest of your night. Get some rest, digest, and hopefully we'll see you. We have Heal Good group coming up on Tuesday. So if you want to continue the conversation, join us on Tuesday where we just let it all out.
Yeah, we seriously let it all out.
I see Skyla added her Etsy.
Yeah, grab her Etsy link before you go.
By the way, her art's amazing and adorbs and everything we all need in our life. And she's my niece, so I'm a little biased. All right, everyone. Have a great night.
Sending you lots of love.
Thank you.
Bye.